Hello. In this video I will discuss and demonstrate centering. The first step to the centering process is preparing your clay, attaching it to the wheel head. The clay that I have here is shaped like a Hershey Kiss. That's actually not a good shape to attach to the wheel head because the flat bottom may trap air when you put it down. So before I place it onto the wheel head, I'm going to use my hands and pat the bottom round. You can start with a sphere, a true ball of clay. The important part is that the area that contacts the wheel head is rounded. And I'll just gently place it into the middle of this wheel, lift it up a few inches, and give it some force downward. I'm using a kick wheel for this demonstration. The same things that I talk about can be applied to using an electric wheel as well. I may mention a few differences with the wheel that I'm using. Before I get water and get the wheel spinning, there are several things that I want to discuss and do. The first thing is to talk about body position. You want to be forward. You don't want to be sitting back away from the wheel. So scooting as far forward as you can comfortably is a good first step. I'm going to discuss 4 keys to centering. The first key is to keep your elbows in. So any movements that I do applying force to the clay, I'm going to keep my elbows into my body or perhaps resting on my legs. Don't have them out here like chicken wings floating around. The next thing I'm going to do is to gently spin the wheel and pat the clay down and towards the center of this wheel head. I'm not using any water for this because I don't want it to be sticky. That really adheres the clay to the wheel head and it gives it a cone type shape, which is really a good starting point. So now the clay is not going to slide off when I actually kick the wheel much faster and apply some water. So I'm going to kick the wheel now, get some speed going. For centering, you want to go fast. So medium to fast speed is a good starting point. I'm going to apply some water with my right hand and gently rest my left hand onto the clay. And it's resting at 9 o'clock. If this were a clock face, there's 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. My left hand's at 9 o'clock and my right hand's going to give a couple scoops of water to start to make the clay moist on the surface, which is the slip that helps lubricate the whole process. I need some more speed, so I'm going to kick the wheel a few more times. My elbows are in. I'm now going to apply pressure. With my right hand, I'm pressing forward, so this is pushing to center. And I'm going to hold steady, and I'm going to ease off. Those are the 4 keys to centering. Elbows in, apply pressure, hold steady, and then ease off. I came off the clay as soon as I felt it get dry. So I'm going to give myself a few more kicks for speed. Some more water, and I'm going to do it again. Elbows in, apply pressure, hold steady, and ease off. The goal here is to get the clay mass centered in the middle of the wheel head. There's a lot of different ways that you can hold your hands to accomplish that, but they all obey those 4 keys. So I've been demonstrating pushing. I'm going to show another way, which is to do the same type of thing, except instead of pushing, I'm going to pull. So my right hand is going to go up to 12 o'clock. My left hand's going to overlap. My elbows are in. I'm going to pull to apply pressure, hold steady, and then ease off. You should see the clay appear as if it's not dancing as much as it was initially because it's starting to get centered, but it's not fully centered yet. I'm going to show one more technique, which is to pull the clay up and push the clay back down. So we've done pushing, we've done pulling, now I'm going to push up, pull up and push down. My hands are going to go on either side of the clay. apply some pressure at the bottom and pull the clay up into a tower. I'm going to show you what the pressure looked like with my hands off the clay. I started like this and I turned my hand so most of the pressure was down here towards my pinky. As soon as I had some pressure, I then lifted upwards like that. So you can see the clay is a little bit taller. Let me do it one more time. I have a lot of slip on the clay now. I don't need to go for the water as much. I'm going to start at the bottom, apply some pressure towards my pinkies, and lift this up into a tower. Now I need to push it back down, and I'm going to go to that first move with my left hand at 9 o'clock, my right hand at 6 o'clock. I'm going to push down and forward and just move both hands down together. And it should go back into that cone shape. I'm holding steady. Now I'm easing off. I'm going to demonstrate that one more time and go through the 4 keys to centering, because I keep wanting to reiterate that. I'm pulling it up into a tower. Now I'm going to intentionally knock this off center so you can see that that is really walking around. I'm going to do the 4 keys properly. My elbows are in. I'm going to apply pressure, hold steady, and ease off. And you can see the clay is much more centered than it was a moment ago. I'm going to do the same thing, knock it off center, elbows in, apply pressure, hold steady, but I'm going to forget the last key, which is to ease off. Watch what happens. Okay, I'm holding steady, now I'm just going to stop. If you don't ease off, you'll never get the clay centered. And that's the hardest one to learn. Most things we do in life, we don't gently let go. You have to learn to gently let go. So let me do it again. Elbows in, apply pressure, hold steady, ease off. So you might have noticed that I was really pushing that tower over. Centering is really pushing a little bit past center, holding steady, and then easing off, and the clay finds its own center as you ease off. Let me give this a few more kicks and push the clay back down and talk about how to determine if you've successfully centered the clay. You don't want to start with a tower. You can make it a tower to help you center, but you need to push it back down into some type of cone shape. The first thing you can do to determine if it's centered is just visually look at it. If it looks like, if you squint your eyes a little bit and it looks like it's actually standing still, that's a good indication that you're at least close to centered. You don't see a dance. But if you really want to get a feel for it, gently rest your hands on the surface and close your eyes. If you close your eyes, your tactile sense is increased, and you can really feel the clay underneath you. If it's not centered, it'll be moving underneath your hands. If it is centered, it feels pretty still. So that's a good way to determine. I'm not perfectly centered here. I think I'm about 85 or 90%. So I'm going to get more speed. If you're having trouble getting the clay centered, go faster at this point. So I'm going to kick this wheel several times, and I'm going to go back to that first move, which is my left hand at 9 o'clock, my right hand at 6 o'clock, my elbows are in, I'm applying pressure, holding steady, and now I'm easing off. And now the clay is centered.